Welcome back to our normal schedule. All right, I hope you guys had some fun working on these challenge questions. No, but seriously, I hope you guys it opened your brain. I hope you are now ready to kind of learn from your mistakes if you made any. Okay, there are 5 questions here. How many did you get right? How many did you get wrong? And the more important question, how close were you to getting it right? And then let's try to learn from our mistakes. Here we go. Let's start with this question right here. This question right here is going back to earlier on in the year, in the fall, multiplying mixed numbers. So we have 1.5, and we're multiplying that by 3.5. How do you multiply mixed numbers? You don't. You don't. The first thing that we want to do is turn them into improper fractions instead. So what is 1.5 times 3.5? Well, 1.5 is the exact same thing as 3 halves. How do you know that? 2 times 1 is 2 plus 1 is 3, 3 halves. 3.5 is the same thing as 7 halves. How do I know that? 2 times 3 is 6, 6 plus 1 is 7. So now I have a new problem where I can actually multiply the numerators and denominators, because when you multiply fractions, this is what you do. 7 times 3 is 21. 2 times 2 is 4. It's much easier than adding or subtracting because you don't have to find a common denominator. Now the only thing left to do is make sure that we pull out any holes. If the fraction is in fourths, 4 fourths makes a whole, and I have 21 of them. So I have 4 fourths, I have 8 fourths, I have 12 fourths, I have 16 fourths, I have 20 fourths. I can't take out another whole because that would be 24. So I have 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 holes, 4 holes, 5 holes. So the answer is 5, and there's still 1 left over because 5 holes was 20 fourths, and there's still 1 left over. So the answer is 5 and a fourth. Let's look at B here. B is everyone's best friend, order of operations, right? Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. All that really tells us is the first thing we have to do is any parentheses, and then any exponents, and then any multiplication or division, and then last but not least, any addition or subtraction. So the first thing that I see is I see a division and I see a multiplication. How do I know which one to do first? They're on the same level. Oh, you go from left to right. So since 54 divided by 6 is first, I need to figure that one out. Remember, 54 divided by 6 is the same thing as 54 sixths. What is that? How many sixes are in 54? 6, 12, 18, 24, 30, 36, 48, or 36, 48, 36, 42, 48, 54. I have 9 fingers out. Therefore, that equals 9. So 54 divided by 6 is 9. I'm going to rewrite my problem. 9 minus 3 times 2. Now I have a new problem right here, and I got to figure out, well, what do I do first? Oh, remember, you always multiply or divide before you add or subtract. So I have a multiplication part right here. And it now is 9 minus 6, and 9 minus 6 is equal to 3. So that entire problem is equal to 3. Rounding. Rounding. Remember, all rounding is hey, as the digits go this way, they get smaller and smaller and smaller. This is a 10. It takes 10 ones to make one of these, so this is smaller. It takes 10 tenths to make a whole. This is smaller. It takes 10 hundredths to make a tenth smaller. It takes 10 thousandths to make a hundredth smaller. So when you round, you're like, let's not go any smaller than whatever the rule is. The rule here is tenth. So in order to figure out where the 10th spot is, you put 1 point. It looks like a 10, so the first place over is tenths. So therefore, I'm not allowed to take anything smaller. So is my answer 11.8? Maybe you got to look at the first thing going bye-bye. The first thing going bye-bye is a 6. So is it closer to 9/10 or 8/10? Well, if the 6 is going away, it's actually closer to 9/10, right? It's somewhere between 11.8 and 11.9. And the way you can tell where it falls is the hundredths place, the place next to it. Since it's a 6, that means it's on this side of the exact middle. Therefore, it's closer to getting rounded up. So we rounded up to 11.9. Okay, so C is 11.9. Let's come on down here. We have this beautiful looking triangle here. Remember, there's 2 different ways to name a triangle. We can look at the size of its sides, and then we could also look at its angles. So looking at the size of the sides, they all have the same mark. That tells you they're all equal lengths. When they're all equal lengths, it's called an equilateral. But the question says, this shape is an example of everything except. So we know the answer is not equilateral because it is an equilateral. Remember, a right angle is a perfect 90-degree angle. You can put a little tiny box in it. Are any of these where you could put a box in it? No, not that one, not that one, not that one. They're all smaller than 90 degrees, which tells me if they're all smaller than 90 degrees, that's an acute little triangle. So it's not acute. Is this an example of a triangle? Yes. So it's not triangle. So the answer has to be obtuse. Why obtuse? Well, it has to be obtuse because you have to have one angle that's larger than 90 degrees for your triangle to be obtuse. This one has all of them smaller than 90 degrees. So therefore, the answer is A, obtuse. Comes to our last challenge question here. We're finding the volume. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the way you find the volume is you multiply the length times the width. When you multiply those 2 together, you get a number that represents the area. But that's just a flat amount. That's a flat area, which tells you that that's not our volume. We need to take that area and multiply it by how high up it goes. And then we get a number that fills the whole thing, which is your volume. So first, to find the area, we multiply 4 by 4. 4 times 4 is 16. And then you're going to take 16 and multiply it by how high the figure is. And the height is 8. 6 times 8 is 42. I lied, 48. I need more coffee. And then 8 times 1 is 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Your answer is 128. All right, so that concludes going over our challenge questions. Now, let's look at today's assignment, shall we? All right, we are going back into Unit 7. Remember, I told you guys that I wanted to get you exposed to all the 5th grade material before the M step, which I did. And I know it was very difficult for you because it's very difficult to go through these concepts very fast, right? So now we're going to take the next few weeks and we're going to go back over Unit 7 and Unit 8. We're going to get back into our book eventually, but not today. Today, I took out from a different material. It looks like your book, but it doesn't. So what I'm going to have you do is I'm going to have you guys take out a piece of paper and label it 1 through 10. Remember, you can pause the video. You can pause the video. You're just going to take out your paper and you're going to label it 1 through 10. And then we're going to go over these answers during our live session with any questions that you might have. So the first part says, consider the expression 2.5 minus 3/4 plus 5/8, but that's in parentheses. And then you have to answer for number 1 is, which operation is done first, subtraction or addition? And then it says, can you put this into words? So try to turn this into words. And you're going to want them to find, I can't tell you what you're going to want them to find first, because then I'd give you the answer to A. So try to put this into words, and we'll go over that answer at 10:30. For number 2, you're going to answer the same kind of question. Consider this expression, 4.5 plus 6 times 1/10. For number 2, just put which is done first, which operation is done first, addition or multiplication, and then try to put this into words as well. So try to take this statement, or take this math problem and put it into words. Here's 3 through 6. All you are doing, and maybe you remember doing this from a couple weeks ago, you are taking each of these, and remember, this is just its number. It's not a part of the problem. And you're going to try to put it into words. You're going to tell me what this sounds like when you say it out loud, but you're going to write it down in words. You can use words like the sum, the difference, the quotient, the product, 4 more than 7, 6 less than 9, different statements like that. And then 7 through 10, you are going to take the words and you are going to put them into an expression. So maybe it'll make more sense if I explain it like this. There's 2 different ways we're looking at these math problems. We're looking at them in expressions. That's what these are. You just see the numbers and the symbols. And then you could also look at these exact same expressions and you could put them into words. So here you're taking the words and you're going to turn them into math expressions. And then here you're going to take the expressions and turn them into words. And then we will go over these answers at 10:30. Alrighty? All right, I'll see you guys soon.